but you approved what we did. Many years ago, around 1995 I think, I purchased a color laser printer. It was super expensive at the time, since they'd just come out on the market. I set it up and people were happy. The guys in the art department discovered the new printer, and rather than use their nice, but slow, dye sublimation printer, they started using the color laser. Fast forward a few weeks and I see the duo, let's call them Dim and Dimmer, down the hallway hanging around the printer with the cover up. I was super busy and figured that they'd had a paper jam and kept right on moving on. Later in the day I get a call that the new color laser wasn't working right. I walk in to see that Dim and Dimmer had attempted to refill toner on the printer, but got it everywhere in the printer. Everywhere. I looked at the printout, and rather be the clean, beautiful print it had been, it looked like there were lines going down the page, smudged colors, just awful looking. I cleaned it as best I could, but the drum had been damaged by toner getting everywhere. I called out warranty support, but they washed their hands on the issue, since proper maintenance hadn't been followed. When a meeting was held, since I had to purchase another printer, I was stunned when Dim and Dimmer said that since I'd seen them, I knew what they were doing and had given approval to what they did. That got shot down really quickly when I explained what had really happened. Eventually I got approval to do the purchase. That wasn't in the budget. When the new printer was brought in, signs were put around it. Serviced by approved personnel only. Well, hey guys, welcome back to Storytime with Uncle Reddit. I'm John, and obviously today we're doing Tales from Tech Support. Yeah, it's amazing how many people will wander into other departments and touch things that really aren't theirs and they had no permission to even be messing with, and then try to throw the blame on everybody else when they muck it up. Or even if it is in their department. There's some companies where you take care of your own stuff. There's some companies where, you're not trusted to cross the street without somebody holding your hand, let alone change the toner in a printer. Use cold water to clean that off. It's my first day back at work. The guy who was supposed to be working today called in sick. Not that it matters. Being who gives a crap Saturday, I'm in jeans and a t-shirt, as opposed to casual Friday or I don't want to be here so I'm in pajamas Sunday. First few tickets I handle with remote desktop connections from the Batcave. Printer not printing issue. A computer that was potato slow and hadn't been rebooted in weeks. She had just been locking her screen when she went home for the day. Great. Being Saturday, I had a few hours. Rewatched some Mandalorian on my phone with nothing better to do. Just after lunch, someone puts in a ticket to help change the toner in a copier. The blue toner. There's a lot of these that get handled by people other than IT. It's not a super hard task, but we would rather just do it ourselves than I'm sure many of you know why. Well, normally it would be time to send an intern, but it's Saturday, so there are no interns. I grab a fresh toner cartridge and carry it up with me. There's a guy dressed in his Saturday best, athletic shorts, stars, and stripes, Walmart chic shirt. Except he's covered in toner powder. Oh my god. Except he's covered in toner powder, as is much of the room. I'm having one of those moments where I'm struggling not to laugh. Did you call facility maintenance yet? I ask. He shakes his head no. I phone them in and report that they need to come up with a toner vac, aka electrostatic safe vacuum. Okay, sir, listen to me very closely. Cold water, like ice cold water, sir, I tell him, putting an emphasis on cold. I put on gloves. I'm already wearing an N95 mask, so that's not a worry, and tear the old cartridge out and start dusting the machine with a dry brush while I wait for facilities maintenance to come up. They show up and see the mess and give me a "what the F, dude" look. Wasn't me. I'm not the one covered in toner powder. He rolls his eyes and nods. Being a cool guy, he vacuums up the inside of the copier first so I can get the new cartridge in. Not having anything better to do, I help the guy clean up the rest of the mess, because that's what I want to be doing, is cleaning toner on a Saturday. I wrap the empty and the half-full broken cartridge up in a trash bag to carry them down. I walk out into the hall and run into the guy who started this whole mess. I looked online and the internet said to use hot soapy water right away, he tells me. I look at him and the blue toner from the color copier is smeared all over and obviously melted in. First thought going through my mind is that he committed genocide in a Smurf village. The guy used paper towels soaked in hot water to try to wash the toner off, and of course it just smeared it around and got into his skin. I've never had that problem, sir. I believe I told you to use cold water. I explained before walking out. Out of morbid curiosity, I checked the bathroom and I found a Smurf murder site at one of the sinks. Well, I tried. Just what I commented on. Some people shouldn't touch the equipment. If your job is sales, your specialty is sales, sell stuff. Call somebody else to do the hard stuff. which isn't that hard, but you're obviously not qualified. Brilliant. A tale from my previous employer. I happened to bump into a friend from the old days yesterday. I worked, and he still works, in a British government ministerial building, and he told me a tale of full lockdown back in 2020. They had a major shutdown, nothing directly IT related, but an electrical fault that took away all power from the building. Theoretically, when people aren't in is a good time for such thing to happen, as the servers moved to immediately backed up servers elsewhere. If you work there, part of the plan is backups in case London is nuked. Decent backups. But there were interruptions to home workers working for about 20 minutes, which also meant that they couldn't log into the IT help desk to find out what's happening here. There's an option to log in via Leeds server, and outside of the IT department, only 5 out of the 480 staff to do that. Only 2/3 of IT thought of it either, but that's another story. One of the few systems that fell over what fell down was the IT call forwarding to help desk mobiles. Again, government. The phone company doesn't control call forwarding, we do. Now anyway, can't remember what the answer was when I was there. But with the power out in the building, they can't do that on this end right now. Still, plans in place for that. The help desk at our HQ in Leeds can do that. Except lockdown. There are obviously some people working, but London and Leeds teams don't really need to talk much outside specific projects. And there was no one in working on those at the time. No one knew who was in and therefore who to call. So it's the general number. You are 83rd in the queue. What? As both call forwarding to mobile and the London help desk were down, all calls from the hundreds of home workers were going to Leeds help desk, stopping London talking to Leeds. There was a local IT team in the other London building, but no one working there that day. Lockdown again, with access to that specific system. In our wonderful age of technology, the problem was solved by one bloke having to take a cab across London to reroute the phones and to message all users just to log back on. We designed for nuclear strike. We just never considered COVID and a power outage. Yeah, you would think if they were that concerned about downtime and having a way to communicate and get things back up and running, you would think there would be like one dedicated, non-publicized line somewhere where people could communicate back and forth without, having to traverse through all the other people trying to call in and find out what's going on. I would definitely have a dedicated way to communicate, but what do I know? Help, my screen's gone completely blue. The first ticket of the morning comes from one of the higher-ups. It's marked as urgent and comes with no additional information. I'm currently in the middle of swapping out all our old tower desktops with micro form factor PCs, and I know this user's PC is older than most, so my first thought is a blue screen of death or something along those lines. Then the phone starts ringing. It's the user in question. User: my screen's gone blue and I can't get any work done. Me: I know, I just saw your ticket. What exactly does it say on the screen? Is there a QR code displayed? User: can you please just come up and fix it? I can't get anything done like this. If it were any other user, I wouldn't put up with the lack of info and panicked messages, but keeping any higher up happy nets IT more money in the long run. And besides, they did say please. So I head up to their desk. It's a small company, and it's less than 2 minutes walk away up a flight of stairs. I get there, and the user's frantically typing away, staring at their screen. User: give me 2 seconds to send this email and it's all yours. Okay, not blue screen of death then. User finishes typing and hops out of the chair. User: do whatever you need to do. I've left it unlocked. I'll just go grab a coffee. User skips off, and I walk around their desk to look at this blue screen. Of the 2 monitors on their desk, the one to the right has a slight blue hue and a mild flicker. I check the cable at the back of the monitor, follow it down to the incredibly dusty tower on the floor, and find the VGA cable slightly loose, not screwed in. I push it in, screw it, and the blue screen disappears. I make a mental note to put the user in for a PC swap and head back downstairs. By the time I get back to my desk, I have an email from the user. User: I don't know what you did, but thank you so much. It's job security, I suppose. Yeah, OP, it definitely is job security, and for this particular case, it's better that they called you. Generally speaking, you really don't want users crawling around under their desk, tugging at wires and trying to plug things in, unplug things, screw things, unscrew things. Yeah, that'll never end well. My job is a help desk ticket descrambler. I work L2 desktop support in the public sector. My team often gets confusing tickets from our service desk. I'm the poor soul who has to interpret these tickets and direct them to the right spot. No one else wants to do it due to the I get paid to work my job, not decrypt and interpret help desk tickets. However, if the tickets don't make sense, the work doesn't get done. I've talked to the help desk lead, but she says that it's our job to handle tickets and not ask the help desk for some needed context. This came to a head yesterday when we get a ticket with a generic title and a screenshot. It had the user's name and that was about it. I asked the person who took the call for more information and context, alongside what troubleshooting was done. They stated the user just got an error. The call agent took a screenshot and kicked the ticket our way. I asked what troubleshooting they advised before sending the ticket over, but all I got was, we're busy and we don't have the time. I know that trying to get more information was a fool's errand, so I called the user on the ticket. The user just needed to log into Office. The error was just related to opening a shared inbox. The user just wasn't logged in to get to the email servers. I then let the call agent know the solution. They didn't respond. I thought most first-line people were supposed to be able to at least follow a script to do some sort of troubleshooting or at least get information. What's happening? What did you do? What happened then? How did the computer respond? Things like that. Why would you just kick? It's laziness. I already know the answer. It's just pure laziness. Just kick it on, kick it on, kick it on. Amazing. Unintended consequences. This happened back in the 80s when PCs were in their infancy and Windows were things you looked out of. I was working in a kind of special projects department. We were pretty autonomous and people from other parts of the organization would come to us with stuff they wanted done. Around this time, we got our first PC. I was given the task of looking after this and quickly applied myself to learning about it. I had already had some experience on a PDP-11, so it wasn't completely alien. I gradually taught myself programming, albeit only basic, but it wasn't that different from Fortran that I had taught myself on the PDP-11. After 6 months or so, I was able to write useful code which streamlined some of our data processing tasks, including taking live data streams and processing them on the fly to get real-time statistics. Around this time, my boss brought in a guy from another department with a job. He had to do lots of data processing by manually trolling through miles of printouts looking for anomalies. It was very time-consuming and complex work, and he was wondering if it could be computerized. I like a challenge, so I agreed to do a feasibility study. When I dived into it, I discovered it wasn't so complex and was able to successfully modify one of my existing programs to do the job. The stats he wanted were available in minutes rather than hours. Everybody happy, you would have thought. Well, everybody except the guy who originally asked for the project. I found out a couple months later that the data processing was his entire job, so after I computerized it for him, he literally had nothing to do, so they made him redundant. Whoops! Careful what you wish for, guys. Sometimes that's the way it goes. Automation. Better for profitability, better for the company. Things are more streamlined. I can't blame the company. I mean, honestly, it's not that much different from when I was a carpenter. And, we would have maybe a dozen guys framing a house. And then all using hand tools, power saws, but no nail guns, that kind of stuff. When nail guns came along, we really didn't need a dozen guys. 7 or 8 was usually our tops. Otherwise, people are tripping over each other. It just depended on the size of the job and the scope. But yeah, we needed less people because we were more efficient with the tools we had. It is what it is. And if you want another video like this one, check out this one here on the screen. I think you're going to like it. See ya.